Hi, Sam. So this is Sam Brook. Welcome to the Life with Lionesses tour. Thanks very much for agreeing to interview with us. So you were on the 2003 tour, that's right, isn't it?
Yes, to New Zealand.
Yeah, great. So we're just going to start, if it's all right, Sam, with where and when you were born and how you got into playing rugby league.
So hiya, everybody. So I was born in Farsley, near Pudsey in Leeds, or between Leeds and Bradford. And I didn't start playing rugby league until I was about 16, 17. So I was a bit of a latecomer to it. But I grew up in Bramley Rugby Club with my dad because he played rugby. So my first sort of taste of contact sport, I'd say, or rugby league was just smashing the boys really of my age and loving the physical tackle of getting these boys down. You know, it was great fun and throwing the ball around. And it wasn't until I was about 16 and a friend's sister, who obviously saw that I was a bit rough and tumble, asked me if I wanted to go and play and train at her club, and that was Hunslet back then. So I went for a couple of training sessions, and I think I played about 2 games at the most. They were just, you know, letting me have a taste of it. And I stood on the wing, as you did as a newbie back then. You kind of got put out on the wing. And I don't think I even touched the ball. And I wasn't really sure of any of the rules, and I wasn't sure what I was meant to be doing. And I don't even think I made one tackle. And I kind of thought, not sure this is enough for me. So I left it, and then I went to Thomas Danby College and we're doing a sports science course, and a girl there, Vicky Alexander, she said to me, "Oh, why don't you come down? I've gone to this rugby league club and it's really good." She'd been playing rugby league all her life. So I went down and it was Birkenshaw Dragons. And as soon as I started there, I loved it. It was a great group of women, some really interesting personalities, and a lot of them were women that had families and were working full time. So said had lots of commitments. A lot of women in the 30s as well, you know. So it was kind of a bit of a surprise to me. I thought, oh, okay, it's not just all young girls. And I started playing there, and same again, out on the wing, not really knowing what to do. And then one of the forwards got injured in one of the games. It must have been like 3 games in. And they were like, "Oh, Brookie, come into the scrum." And I was like, "Where do I go? What do I do?" You know. And just ended up having a blinder in that game. Found that I loved tackling, and that I could just go from tackle to tackle to tackle. I was pretty fit, and loved it from that moment on, and kind of kept that spot in the forwards as a Lucy, and when it went from there, really, step after step. And then
that's great.
So I started at Birkenshaw, went on years later to Bradford Thunderbirds, and then eventually over in New Zealand to Richmond Roses.
Wow. So how old were you then when you at Birkenshaw? So you're at college, so 19, 20?
Yeah, well, I went travelling for a while when I'd just turned 20. So between 17 and 19 I would have been, and I played a couple of years there, just getting used to it. I was just getting good and getting to know the game and getting a feel of it. I think halfway through that very first season was my first one. So the next season I found my place and my footings, and that year I did really well. I managed to get a load of awards for it and stuff, and we even played the second division final, which were great for the team. I mean, you know, we got there and we played in this final and we won in the last few minutes, and it was brilliant. That was one of my very best memories of playing at Burko in that final. It was fantastic.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So how did that lead into getting a call up for GB or the training squad, or how talk me through that?
Well, that came after I'd been travelling. So back in that second year, at Birkenshaw, from that game I'd got the player of the match, and I think a lot of the coaches and the first division players were there, and you know, you kind of get noted. And then I won the second division player of the year as well. So I had to go to a big awards thing, and they were all there too. So I think possibly they were watching me. And then I went off to Australia, traveled for a year, came back, and went back to Birkenshire, and then we played Bradford. And I'd never really played a first division team before. And, you know, the talk in the changing rooms of all these superstar girls that play for Great Britain and all these idols that you'd see. And of course, being a forward, the big talk was about Lisa Mack, you know. Oh, Lisa Mack, you know, if you can tackle her, you can tackle anyone. So in my head, I'm thinking, right, okay. But really, I was shaking from head to foot. I remember being so nervous. And when I saw her and these thighs that were just like muscle, it were like, how the hell do I tackle her, you know? And I remember in this game, we were probably losing like 60-0 or something like that because we just got hammered by them. But we never gave up. And during this game, I were tackling her and stuff, and she kept saying all these things to me like, go on, young, and keep going. So she was still mentoring and coaching, even though she was at your position. And I think that was probably the game that where maybe she noticed, and a few of the other players, and probably Jackie and the coaching squad might have seen me then. Yeah, and I got a try against them too, so that was good.
Amazing.
So yeah, then I got a call up. I can't remember if I got a letter or a phone call. I actually can't remember that, sorry. But I remember thinking when I did get it, really? Me? You know, because you do doubt yourself, you doubt your ability, you're younger, you know, and you watch these girls, and there's a lot of people around you that, you know, have mentored you and stuff, and you think, oh, I'm not sure, but I went along, and I think it was in Wigan or Wigness, and like usual, I'm known for getting lost. I got lost on the day, and even though I set off at, you know, with the birds in the morning, I still got lost, which I carried on doing for every training thing where we went all over. But yeah, we went to these trials, and it were a big day, and there were lots of people there, lots of girls I knew, and lots that I didn't know. We played lots of trial games against each other. You get thrown in at different positions. It was like the fitness one, so you had to do sprints, you had to do jumps. I wasn't quite sure what that were about, you know. You had to do all the ladder work. So there was a lot of things that was new to me that, you know, we'd probably just done fitness and tackle bags and stuff. So all this was starting to become a little bit, ooh, it's a bit special, is this? This is like a step up. But then, yeah, I found out that I got into the side, and it was just, yeah, it was like, wow. Really,
that's amazing. That's amazing. So who was leading that training session? Was that Jackie?
Yeah, there was Jackie, and I think Martin was there as well. He was like one of the coaches. And he also had been, if I can remember rightly, I've had a few head knocks, my memory's quite
that's Rugby League.
Yeah, I'm sure it was something to do with maybe Wakefield, but he also had something to do with one of the men's academies or something like that. But yeah, he definitely knew his stuff, and obviously Jackie was there. And it was very, very professional. Yeah.
And so that was the training. So then you got the letter or the phone call to say that you'd been picked for the side then. So how did you feel about that?
Ecstatic, because I'd always been sporty, and I'd always done lots of different sports, and I'd only got to certain levels with it, you know, but this is for your country. I mean, this is for your country, not just Yorkshire or whatever. This is like for your country, and it blew me away, and it made me change a lot of the way that I was at the time. You know, I was still young, I'd been traveling, and I really had to think, right, okay, this is a commitment to me. You know, this is a commitment not just to me, but my family and my country and everybody that's around me that's got this expectation now. You know, they've all said to me all my life, you can do these kind of things. I needed that self-belief then, I think, you know.
So how old were you at this point, and what were you doing?
I think I was 21, and at first I was working as a landscape gardener because I'd just got back from traveling, but then I became a poster because that fit in with the training, because you were expected to train every day, you're expected to do weights. I think it was minimum three times a week. You still had your club games and trainings to go to. And then we had Great Britain training weekends, which would be at all different venues all over I suppose, up and down the M62, you know, wherever they could find a facility, because obviously with the Women's League at that time still, we weren't getting as much funding or any funding as we should have done. And the coaches and all the other staff to do with Great Britain, they had to figure out these places, feeders as well, clothers. And I love that part, getting that tracksuit, getting a free tracksuit that said Great Britain on it. I'm sold, you know.
Highlight.
Yeah, they worked really hard to do that. And like I say, we go to all these different venues and stuff and have these amazing weekends where I'm full on, like nothing I'd ever done.
So a complete step up from club level fitness.
Yeah, and they made you feel like a professional too, even though we were still amateur. We all worked. I was still a post it, and lots of the other girls, they were teachers, they were fire girls, they were, you know, we all had commitments. People had kids. I didn't have kids then, but you know, yeah, I think, and that's what made you go, you know, I've really got to be the best I can be, because everybody else around me is giving up so much.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that you know, that you were made to feel like a professional, because that's what you should have been feeling like and being treated like, shouldn't you? And that's must have kind of really given you the impetus, I suppose, like to say yeah, okay, you're going to do this and do it properly, like, you know, because people were investing, you know, like people around you were all investing in you, and that's really just quite remarkable, isn't it? It's really exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting. I think the only people that didn't really was sometimes when we'd go out and we'd do the fundraising, because for the 2003 tour we had to I think it was $2,000 each to cover the flight and the where we stayed over in New Zealand, and the food as well. And to get that money raised was up to each individual. So lots of people had lots of different ideas and stuff. And you still had to pay for your trainings as well. I mean, I was lucky enough to get a free gym membership at a weights place in Pudsey, where I lived. And that was really cool, because that also opened up the eyes for a lot of the women in the community, because I was pretty much one of the first women going in this gym. You know, it was solely all macho and stuff. But then, like, lots of other women started going, so it helped their business too. They used me as a promotion, and I used them for my fitness. I work out, you know, like a give and take. But lots of people would donate money. Lots of people would. I do raffles, and the club would do meals and things like that. But I think the only downfall was when we'd go actually bucket collecting. You know, sometimes we'd be going to the big league finals, and we'd be there in cool shell suits and stuff, looking really professional. But it was the punters that sometimes wouldn't, you know. There was still this male chauvinistic kind of headspace where they thought girls can't play rugby, or, you know, and there'd be comments, stupid comments, and it's the oldest thing in the book. Oh, what position do you play? No, hooker, you know. It's like that kind of mentality. Hopefully now that stopped. Us and women before us and girls after us have proved we can, and we can do it, and, you know, skillful and physical enough not to do it without those kind of puns. But generally everybody was positive about it.
How did that make you feel, that kind of derogatory element of it? Did it fire you up, or?
Yeah, you just put it into your game. Being a professional, playing for your country, you don't even worry about that kind of stuff there and then. In the moment, you take it and you put it into your game. There's always going to be, and there still is, I suppose, with lots of different stuff, you know. It is what it is, but we just got to keep moving forward and keep moving that, you know. So no, it fired you up a bit more, to be honest.
So you got the money and you went on tour. So you know, talk me through it. Well, how was it? Had you been to New Zealand before, or just Australia at this point?
Just Australia. So for me, I mean, I'm gypsy heritage anyway. I love traveling, so you know, I was so excited to come to New Zealand, and I was so excited to come and see the culture. I mean, you know, growing up watching rugby and rugby league, when the guys did the haka, I mean, your heart just stops, and you know, it's just all this passion. So to come to a country where, you know, that's going on, and also the women at that time, you know, they were formidable, and to come to a World Cup as well, were just, it were mind-blowing, really. It were hard to get your head around it, but yeah, we had a fantastic time. And I mean, I know now because I'm still in New Zealand, one of the hotel where we stayed, the Poinamu in Takapuna, is a legendary place where the All Blacks used to stay back in the day. So little did we know we were staying in this really historical sporting place, you know, so, and that were cool. And we were on the top floor and the Aussies were underneath us.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you bump into them?
Yeah, quite a lot. We actually all had a laugh, a bit of banter and stuff, you know, as the weeks went on and whatnot. But you're not too much, because we were out busy every day training. We'd go to the local Maori Boys College up the road, Hatapetra, and train there, which is a really special place too. So hopefully we were getting a lot of the vibes as well from all these amazing places we were going. And we were just blown away. The girls, if we're going to the city and all this culture, and the shops were different and everything were different, you know, the language were different. It was really exciting for us all. I mean, I don't know if some of the girls had gone to Australia obviously before, but New Zealand was somewhere different, you know.
Yeah. And what was it like going with your teammates? Did you all get on and have a laugh, and was good experience?
I mean, obviously we were from different clubs, so there was obviously different rivalries and stuff, but when you play for your country, you all come together. You're a unit. And looking back on some of the photographs, I mean, we had such a laugh. Some of the team bonding things we did that the staff got us doing were so much fun.
Like what? Yeah. What can you remember of them?
We like went bowling and we played silly games, you know, in different teams and things like that. One of the good things that I remember about the team when we really did bond was we did a flag parade around Takapuna. So it's like a town on the seafront. It's really beautiful. You've got Rangitoto Island behind you, and all the teams were there with their flags, and everybody were dressed up, and the local businesses and stuff had flags around, and we all walked around with a parade and some music going, and we all had to do a song. And we'd not really prepared for this because there were loads of nations. There were like Tonga, Samoa, Tokelau, Niue, Australia, New Zealand Maori, and New Zealand. So quite a lot, and wow. You know, all these different cultures and these amazing songs.
Fantastic.
We came up with Ruchicha because that's the one we all knew. Everybody knew it in all the rugby league clubs. So everyone's doing these sing songs and stuff, and then we come out with Ruchicha. But the best thing was all these teams thought it was hilarious, and everybody were joining in, and we were just all in hysterics. And I think that was a really good bonding time for us, you know. And then we went onto the stadium and played our first game. And
fantastic.
You know, it was kind of really good team bonding thing.
Yeah. So what was your first game? Who did you play against? Can you remember?
I think we played against Samoa. Yeah, Samoa. And we won that game. I can't remember the score, but we won that game. And that was a big shock to the system. Like the girls are fast and tough and strong and big. Yeah, and I mean, pretty much every player was Lisa Mack on that team, right. even the backs. You know, that they were the body size is just big and strong girls, but boy, they can move. You know, such talent over here with the Pacific Islanders and the Maori. You know, just a different body type and a different speed and skill. So we quickly were like a big shock, but we came through, and our came through too. So I think that gave us some confidence, and it was kind of like bigger they are, harder they fall kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's mentality.
And so that was your first. Had you ever played against another country before, like it as a friendly or anything? No, so that was your first time. Wow.
Yeah, Yeah, first time for me. I'd missed out on the Australian tour, I think 2002, and because I had a DVT, I got picked and I'd gone through the training prior to that and been on the squad, and then played in one of the finals and got an impact on the leg and ended up in the hospital with a DVT.
Oh my
Having
gosh.
injected into me, so I couldn't fly or anything for 9 months. So for me, I'd waited a really long time after getting the selection to get finally to play for my country.
Yeah.
So that was like, yes, done that one, and it was brilliant.
Oh, amazing. So did you, you said you stayed in this really historic hotel. Did you stay there the whole time for the whole tournament?
Yeah, we stayed there the whole time. It was central to everything because Takapuna was quite close to the city. And it had restaurants and bars and things like that to it. One of the nights I shared a room with Wendy Chandler, that was her name back then. And yeah, she was the best roomie. And a little secret was that was the smokers' room because we were the only two that were the smokers. You know, or they were the ones that admitted it. We were asleep one night and I'm well asleep, and then all of a sudden the lights go on and Wendy's like screaming blue murder in this really strong northern accent. And I looked down and there was this guy crawling along the floor, and he'd actually broken into our room to steal whatever he could get, you know, being at the nightclub, which was attached to this. And after, I mean, this guy ran for it. He got the shock of his life. I don't think he ever expected like this pit bull from, you know, the north of England screaming at him. And then there were helicopters and police, and it was so exciting. But yeah, so it did.
Did they catch him?
Yeah, they got him. Yeah.
I mean, that's quite dramatic.
We did get him.
Oh my gosh, that's not what you expect when you go on tour, is it?
No, not really, but I don't think it's what he expected either, so he got his confidence.
So can you remember any of the other games or the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, so we played against New Zealand Maori. I think that was in one of the pool games, and I played in that one because we did like a rotation. So there'd be like two teams kind of thing. So everybody got turns.
Brilliant.
And that was a really tough game. We won that one. But that was a tough game. They were really, really fast and physical as well. And then I played against New Zealand in the semi-final. And I once again got injured. I'd fractured something in my elbow, and we'd gone to the hospital after the New Zealand Maori game. And I asked for a soft cast on because there were no way. I knew that if I had the rest, and I could play in the New Zealand game. So I asked for this soft cast, and they put it on. And when we played New Zealand, I had this foam and all this like padding all around my elbow because I pre-broke it before I got like, can you see the scar? I had stuff. And it had broken one of the bones where the pin had gone through with a tackle. But there was no way I was not playing New Zealand. I'd gone all this way and I'd missed out on the Australian tour, and it was like, I'm playing no matter what.
Oh my God.
Luckily, I got to play New Zealand, and wow, even before we played them, the haka that the women did to us, you know, standing there facing these women who are just these formidable players, knowing the strength they've got, and then also having, you know, them put the haka towards us, giving us a challenge. It was like, wow, this is one of the best times in my life. It was fantastic.
Oh my gosh. And did the arm survive? Did the arm survive? Did it survive the match?
Yeah, the arm survived. Yeah, I've had it seen to since I got it seen to after that. But
that sounds like quite an experience. Were you scared, or were you just fired up?
A mixture of both. I think I could have been sick or just got roared like a lion. I suppose you internalize it. And funnily enough, the girl that led the haka, Annabelle Hohepper, when I came to New Zealand, she became one of my best friends, and she was a forward and I was a forward, and in the haka, like she was close, like close, and she's got these amazing piercing blue eyes, and it was what I could remember. I thought, focus on these eyes, and but also absorbing all this passion and culture, and because they're calling for their ancestors to help them and stuff. It's pretty intense when you're there.
Yeah.
And obviously with New Zealand after, I've learned a hell of a lot more about what it actually is,
Yeah.
And just it's pretty special to have experienced that. Not many people do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what an experience. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what's the most enduring memory of that tour, do you think? Or would it be that?
Probably that. I mean, it was really tiring. We were playing every sort of third day, and we were training in between, and you were trying to recover from knocks and injuries. Normally you had a week when you were at home playing club rugby, but this is intense international rugby, so it's a whole different level. You had to get all your nutrition on. We were being weighed before and after games, and it was interesting just how much fluid you lost, like weight-wise and stuff, on your body, and resting and trying to sleep and things like that. That was hard because it was so exciting. You're still overseas on holiday kind of thing, but at the same time playing for your country. I think probably that semi-final with against them, was probably the hardest.
And what would your family's take on this? So presumably it wasn't televised at home, was it? So were you keeping in touch with them to tell them what was going on?
Yeah. I'd phone home and just talk to my mum and dad, and they'd pass it on to my granddad. My granddad was like one of my biggest supporters ever since when I first started. He used to come to all my games and stuff, and I used to give him all my trophies and things like that. And I think for them it was hard because they obviously would come to my games and things, so they needed updating. But they were from day one. I mean, being a rugby man, my dad loved the fact that his girl were playing league, and then to get to Great Britain, they were just so happy and ecstatic about it, so proud. They told everyone. My dad still does. He writes me letters and birthday cards, and he always puts GB, RL kind of thing, WGBRL, Women's Great Britain, and he loves that kind of thing. And he's made me t-shirts when Leeds won the triple, when the Rhinos when they got the triple. He sent Rhinos, because I was a Rhinos fan, with a big shirt with my name and WGBRL on the back and stuff, and my number. And
that's lovely.
Yeah. And my mum were a great supporter. My mum used to come, and all the girls that played with me will remember this, that she had MS, so she was in a wheelchair. She had multiple sclerosis, and everyone used to take turns like carrying the wheelchair over the fields or pushing her and stuff. So everybody knew her too. So she really got into it as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. So like a proper family affair. That's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that with Women's Rugby League and Women's Rugby as well, it is a family affair, because, like I said before, lots of the women had kids already, or families and commitments. Even like at Burko, I think I learned that. I played with so many amazing women there, and it's funny because like one of my best mates, Julie Burgess, Dawn Bowker, Wendy Mennell, Michelle Omanga, their kids, have all played the Burgess boys. They've all gone on to play Rugby League lads. Michelle's Jacob is playing rugby union for England,
Wow, right, yeah.
Wendy's lad, he played professionally. There were lots of kids that watched the mums play, and I think, it's not always the dads, so it's always, the mums are this strong leader in this case, and a family affair. Everybody would help, and everybody
Yeah, absolutely. That's right, isn't it? About watching your mum play that, and just briefly, it was lovely to meet your children earlier. Like, what do they make of it? What do they make of your success and your achievements?
Well, I think because they're so far-fetched, because they were just a twinkle in my eye when I was playing GB.
Yeah.
They they don't, I don't think they really understand it as much as, say, if I was still in England playing, and they'd see jerseys on the wall in your rugby league club and thing like that. I mean, I don't really try to force it on them. I once tried to make them watch some of the videos from the World Cup, and I mean, first of all, it was like, what's a video? They didn't even know what that was. So it were already boring for them, and that's the unfortunate thing. There's no real YouTube clips or anything like that, or they can't really Google you, so you're not really, but I think just with the other sports that I've done and things I've done with them, and the amount of time I spend with them and at their sports, I think they get that I'm passionate about it, and that somewhere along the line the mum might have done something good.
Yeah, just a little bit. So you didn't play again for GB, did you?
No, I didn't. I left in my prime, so to speak. I reflect back and I think, what if?
So you left to come to New Zealand, that's right, isn't it? You moved to New Zealand.
I did, yeah. I came straight back to New Zealand about 6 months after the tour, and I've never left. So I think I'm getting up to 20 years being here nearly. Yeah. Token Kiwi.
yeah. But you carried on playing when you moved there.
Yeah, I did. I found a girl that I knew was playing league, and got in touch with a club. So Richmond Roses, a little bit over the bridge from me, on the other side, but that was okay because most of the girls that were playing for that team were in the Kiwi squad or in the Samoa or the Tonga or the New Zealand Maori. They were all part of that World Cup, so it was kind of like stepping into an amazing team again. I'd gone from Bradford and GB, so to be able to play with these girls as well, we're just like, wow. And I got a starting spot in that team, and like I say, Annabelle Bells, she was there and she kind of mentored me with the way that it kind of worked over here, but there was still a bit of a language, what's the word I'm looking for? So over here, when you say A, as in A for apple, it's A. And there was a move called an A, an A, B, and there's someone who called an A, and I got A, and then I got A, and they got A, and I just couldn't get these bloody simple moves because of the vowels, and it was A, and so from then on it was just
love it.
But yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
Oh, that's great that you then went and played there. That's like just to kind of pick it up where you left off, but in a different part of the world.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna ask, kind of, did you like you started to say that you sometimes kind of thought about what could have been, that you could have played again for Great Britain, possibly if you'd have stayed at home.
Yeah, I think I would have definitely carried on playing. Hopefully until now, maybe, you never know, but it is what it is, and I won't change that. And like I say, I came over here and I played at Richmond for a good few years. We won the Premiership, so I won Premierships in England and Premierships over here. I got to play like at the Warriors ground and things like that. I did trial for New Zealand and I got into the trial-on squad, but I had to take a 2-year stand down. So, and I kind of get that with the New Zealand team were trying to bring through grassroots, and I was just this pom that I come over, and I really wanted to be in the team, but there's rules and regulations, and that was a hard pill to swallow. And during that time, I met my partner, and surprise, got pregnant. So
right, brilliant,
Cooper. So that were kind of my priorities then, for first sort of year or so.
Yeah.
And then I started playing rugby as well. So over here, most of the girls play both codes. You'd play rugby on a Saturday and league on a Sunday. So I started playing rugby as well and really, really enjoyed it. I've never played rugby before properly, you know. So I played open side number 7 for a few years for a local team here, Glenfield. And then I managed to make the North Harbour team. So I played MPC, which is, I suppose, like Yorkshire or counties, you know. I'm not sure what it is over in England anymore, but
yeah,
so that was a good experience. Got to travel up and down New Zealand with that.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, but kind of with the league, I kind of focused because then I had Caden, so I had my second kid, and then I was getting really into triathlon and marathon running and stuff. I always enjoyed endurance and pushing yourself. So I got over a knee injury through rugby, and I thought, I think I'm gonna just retire now.
Okay, yeah.
On other things, still coach. I'd had a lot of coaching experience back in England with Lisa for the women's under 21s.
Oh, really? Oh, how was that?
Yeah, that was brilliant. I mean, it was great. I learned so much as well. Jackie and Lisa were really pushing for this women's under 21s team, and there were a lot of good talent coming through. And so I volunteered to help with that. So I had that under my belt.
Fantastic.
And I coached at Stanley as well, down in Stanley, a girls team. So I kind of thought, well, I'll take that and see what I can do over here with it too. And did a lot of fitness training with the girls, and and then just kind of fizzled out a wee bit. But it was funny because I was watching the WNRL, the women's rugby league, the other night, the final.
Oh, really?
Amazing. Yeah, on the TV where St George Illawarra and Sydney Roosters girls. And fantastic. One of the girls that I coached here, she's a dual international league and rugby girl. And she's still playing. And she was, I was just like, yay. So that's cool.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So kind of like looking back, like what do you think kind of are the most positive aspects of your international career and the most challenging?
I think injury was the most challenging to get over that and come back and still be dedicated and still be positive and still go for that goal, because it really does impact you. I think especially when you're working, you have time off work, you lose money, things like that. That was probably the hardest thing to overcome. The most positive thing, I mean, I learned so much about myself. I learned that and one of the very first times I walked into a Great Britain training session, and I was really doubting myself, thinking, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I've got zero knowledge. I've not got that much skill. I can just tackle, that's all I can do really. And there was a whiteboard, and on this whiteboard there was just a quote up, and it was something like, you can have as much skill, you can have as much drills put into you, we can teach that, but we can't teach heart and passion. That's you, and what you do with that, that's what's going to make you great. And I remember looking at that and thinking, well, that's okay, because I've got that. And it can take me everywhere. And throughout coaching, and I tell it to my kids every day, don't matter if you're not the greatest ball passer, or you're not the, as long as you've got what it takes inside and you're driven by it, then you'll do well, and your team will do well if you've all got that mentality. And I think that's one of the best things, because you can take that in any part of your life as well, no matter what throws at you. We all get a roller coaster, that's life's journey. But as long as during that you keep true to yourself and you keep passionate and you've got your goals, then it'll be okay. And your friendships, that's one of the things that Great Britain gave me too. Lifelong friendships. I still got over in New Zealand, the girls in England, and also friends now here, lifelong friends through the sport again, It's all over the world. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah, that is amazing. And what will you do reflections be on, women's rugby league now, like where it's come from your time and before that to where it is now, and what would you say to those women playing, this in this year's World Cup for England? What would you think about that?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's amazing. I mean, it's televised now. Like I said, I just watched the women's grand final before the men's in Australia. It's just amazing. I reflect my reflections from there to now. I mean, I see that we were kind of like mentors to all these girls coming through. We did the hard yards, we had the struggles, and hopefully they can go on to do what we did, but even better, because we've given them the tools to be able to do that. I think it's amazing that, because there's also the wheelchair rugby league as well. I mean, that's just amazing that regardless to what life throws at you, and your different levels, it's there, and we're coming through, and it's all everything that we did in the past, it's all worth it. It's definitely worth it. And just put back into your grassroots, go back to your club, put as much time into the girls, into the club, do as much training and coaching that you can, so we can upskill, and also teach kids about, and girls and women, about looking after the bodies as well, because that's one thing we never did. Even though you want to leave everything out on the field, think about your future. So make sure you do get your nutrition, your conditioning, and stretch after, because when you get to 44, 45 like me, I've still got a million things I want to do. Just the body halts it a few times, but definitely go back to your grassroots and your club and do as much as you can. That's what I'd say.
Sam, thanks so much. That's been absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. And listening to you and thinking about everything you've achieved, and it's really, I feel really honoured to have been able to interview you. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys for everything that you're doing as well, bringing this to the attention. I feel humbled that that you've interviewed me and I can share. Hopefully it inspires someone somewhere. And
I think it will. And I think this project, it's this kind of international women's rugby league hasn't been really talked about, and it's not on the the historical record anywhere, and that's changing now, and and it's thanks to people like you and your colleagues that that we're able to do this. So thanks very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.